You are making a mistake with your cat right now. Not because you're careless, not because you don't love them or haven't tried to understand them. You're making it because it looks exactly like something good. It feels like attentiveness. It feels like care. It is motivated entirely by love, and it is quietly and consistently working against the relationship you're trying to build. Almost every cat owner makes this mistake. The ones who don't are usually the ones who stumbled onto the correction by accident and noticed the difference without fully understanding why things changed. The mistake is not dramatic. There's no single moment where everything goes wrong. It accumulates. It runs underneath the ordinary texture of daily life with your cat and shapes the relationship in ways that are slow and subtle and almost impossible to trace back to their source once they've been going long enough. Here's what it is. 1. You respond to your cat's stress by moving toward it. Your cat is unsettled. Maybe they heard something outside. Maybe a visitor came and went, and the residue of that disruption is still in the room. Maybe nothing obvious happened, and they're just having a high alert day, moving through the house differently, watching things more carefully than usual. And you, because you love them, go to them. You approach. You try to touch them, or pick them up, or gather them into the kind of contact that would comfort a human in the same state. This is the mistake. Not the impulse. The impulse is good. The impulse is love expressing itself in the most natural way available to a human. When someone we care about is distressed, we close the distance. We make physical contact. We use presence and touch to communicate that they're not alone in whatever they're feeling. Your cat does not experience distress this way and does not receive comfort this way, and the gap between those two facts is where the mistake lives. When a cat is stressed or frightened or on high alert, their nervous system is in a state of readiness. Every sense is elevated. Their threat detection is running at full capacity. And an approach, even from someone they love, even from you, registers in that state differently than it would at baseline. You moving toward them while they're activated is additional input into a system that is already overwhelmed with input. It is not comfort. It is escalation, however gently it arrives. 2. What your cat needs when they're stressed is the opposite of what you instinctively offer. Here's the thing that runs counter to everything human social instinct tells you to do. When your cat is stressed, the most helpful thing you can do is nothing. Specifically, nothing directed at them. Be in the room. Be calm. Be present in the way that a stable environment is present, without demands, without focus, without any behavior that requires them to process you as a variable in an already complicated moment. Sit down somewhere that isn't adjacent to them. Face slightly away. Let your body language communicate what the situation needs communicating, which is that you have assessed the environment and found nothing worth alerting to. You are not concerned. Your posture says nothing is wrong. Your stillness says the threat level in this room is low. Your cat's nervous system is constantly scanning the environment and taking readings from everything in it, including you. A calm, still, undemanding human in the room is one of the most powerful signals available that the environment is safe. Your cat has learned, over the time you've spent together, what you look like when something is actually wrong. And when you look like nothing is wrong, that information is available to them and it matters. This is called social referencing. It's the process of using another individual's response to an ambiguous situation to calibrate your own response. Cats do it with their owners. They look at you when something uncertain happens, and they use what they see to decide how to feel about it. When you rush toward them looking concerned, you are confirming the threat. When you sit down and look like Tuesday, you are disconfirming it. One of these helps, one of them doesn't. 3. Why it compounds over time in ways that are hard to see. A single instance of approaching a stressed cat doesn't create a problem. Your cat recovers, you move on, nothing lasting occurs. The problem is the pattern. And the pattern develops because the mistake looks like the right thing to do, and so it gets repeated, consistently, across months and years, until it has shaped something in how your cat experiences you in moments of uncertainty. Here is what accumulates. Your cat is stressed. You approach. Their nervous system, already elevated, has to process your approach as an additional stimulus. They manage it because they know you, and because you're not actually a threat. but managing it costs something. The return to baseline takes slightly longer. The stress response runs slightly hotter because it had additional fuel added to it. Do this enough times, and something subtle shifts. Your cat begins to associate your approach during their high alert states with an increase in their own activation. Not because you've done anything wrong in the obvious sense, but because the pattern has repeated enough times that their nervous system has logged it. The result, in its more developed form, is a cat who withdraws more during stressful situations rather than less, who seeks smaller spaces when they're unsettled, who becomes harder to reach during the moments when you most want to help. And because this developed gradually, because there was no single incident that caused it, the connection between the behavior and the outcome is almost impossible to identify from the inside. And if this is making you trace something backward in your own relationship with your cat, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat owners who want to understand the small things that shape the big picture. 4. The specific version that damages trust the fastest. Within this broader mistake, there is one version that is more damaging than the others, and it is also the most common: picking up a stressed cat. When a cat is in a high alert state and you pick them up, you have done several things simultaneously. You have removed their ability to move away if they choose to. You have placed them in a position where they are physically dependent on you for their own stability. You have entered their space and initiated contact without invitation in a moment when their threshold for uninvited contact is at its lowest. And you have, in the process, taught them something they will remember. Not that you are dangerous. You are not dangerous, and they know that. But that when they are already struggling, the struggle can get more complicated. That the person they love is someone whose approach during hard moments requires management rather than relief. The cats who become most difficult to handle at the vet, who are hardest to medicate, who hide most completely during thunderstorms, are often the cats whose people responded to early stress signals by picking them up. Not because picking them up was cruel, because it was well-intentioned and mistimed and repeated until the association set. The correction is simple and requires nothing except restraint. When your cat is stressed, keep your hands to yourself until they come to you. Let the approach be theirs. Let the contact be initiated by them, in their own time, when their nervous system has returned to a state that can receive it as what you intend it to be. That wait is not passive. It is the most active thing you can do. 5. What changes when you stop making it? The shift that happens when you consistently respond to your cat's stress by being calm and still rather than approaching is one of the more striking behavioral changes you can produce without doing anything that looks like training. Within weeks, most cats begin to show a different pattern during high alert states. Instead of moving away from you or retreating to small hidden spaces, they begin orienting toward you. Not immediately, and not always, but with a frequency that increases over time. Because what you've demonstrated, through repetition, is that you are the stable point in the environment, the constant that doesn't add to the noise, the presence that the data says correlates with things being okay. Your cat's nervous system is always looking for exactly that, a reliable signal that the threat level is low, a piece of the environment that consistently reads as safe. And when you become that signal, when your presence during stressful moments consistently means calm rather than additional input, you become something very specific to your cat. You become the place they go when things are hard, not because you comfort them in the way you imagined you would, but because you learn to speak the language that actually reaches them, which is the language of stillness and reliability and being exactly what the moment needs without asking them for anything in return. 6. The love that reaches them looks different from the love that feels natural to give. Here is what I want to leave you with. Everything in this video describes a mistake that comes from love. The approach, the touch, the picking up, none of it happens because you don't care. It happens because you care enormously, and your caring expresses itself in the language available to you, which is the language of human comfort. Your cat speaks a different language, one where safety is communicated through stillness rather than approach, through presence rather than contact, through being the calm thing in the room rather than the concerned thing moving toward them. Learning that language is not complicated, but it requires you to override something that feels very natural, to sit still when everything in you wants to do something, To keep your hands to yourself when your cat is struggling and all you want is to let them know you're there. You are there. They already know you're there. What they need from your being there is not touch or sound or closeness. It is just you, calm and still and asking nothing, in the same room for as long as it takes. That is the correction. It is quieter than the mistake. It is less satisfying to the part of you that wants to actively help. And it is the thing your cat has been waiting, perhaps for years, for you to understand.